Hello, hello, and welcome to Hero's Journey. We're doing a very special episode today of Power Rankings for the upcoming year. Sean, you want to explain what that means?
I do. Sierra, this is something I've been dying to do since we started this show. We are always on CBR looking ahead to the next big upcoming project that's coming down the pipeline in the comics and superheroes realm. And a fun thing that I wanted to do, and I'm so glad you were able to jump on board with this, is to take a ranking system that I'm literally stealing from like college football or college basketball, where they rank projects, and since we can't like pit projects against each other on a playing field, where Supergirl fights against Spider-Man Brand New Day, we're going to rank them in terms of our anticipation of how much we can't wait to see these projects that are coming from. Primarily, we're focusing on Marvel and DC. And when I looked at the field, we had 15 projects, a nice round number of 15 projects that are going to be coming in 2026 and 2027.
These are the official Hero's Journey Power Rankings, where we will discuss all of the upcoming superhero projects for the next couple of years, the release dates therein that we have currently confirmed, as well as what information we have about any of these upcoming projects. So this will be your resource for the next year about what we have coming down the pipe.
And just so you guys understand, we're going to update these rankings at the end of every month. The final episode of each month, we will run through an updated listing of our power rankings. We won't get into specific details where we break down every plot point about the different things, but we'll do, title, release date, and where it has shifted in terms of our overall power rankings. You'll see our anticipation shift and move as these projects start to come to fruition. Sierra, I don't know. Why don't we dive right in? Should we talk about what landed at number 15 on our ranking? This is our least anticipated project.
I feel like anyone who's listened to a previous episode of ours will not be surprised to learn that the one that we are least anticipating is the upcoming Jimmy Olsen true crime show. The Jimmy Olsen show, we don't have a lot of confirmed details, but it sounds like it's going to be about Grog. We don't currently have a release date. It's really very up in the air. And so this is one of those things where I'm going to take back exactly what I just said, which is that the lack of information is not giving me expectations so much as confusion, fears, other emotions.
Yeah, and also just like if you survey the slate of characters that were introduced in Superman, and knowing that we're already going to be getting Man of Tomorrow, which I anticipate will be higher up on this list. Of the characters to choose, Jimmy Olsen seems like an unusual one to pick to put into a true crime show. Now, like you said, we don't know much about the details or where they're going to go with it. So probably as we learn more about this show, I could see it potentially climbing the ranks. But as of right now, something had to be last. And
nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, the Jimmy Olsen true crime show. All right, at number 14, we have Vision Quest, which is the culmination of the all of a sudden trilogy of Wanda and Vision stories. Didn't realize that was a trilogy until this. Looking forward to a trailer. We'll see what happens with Vision Quest. It's due to come out in September of 2026, from what I understand. Is that right?
I think so. It's I think that it's a date that they've been sort of cagey about. I think really the only thing we have 100% confirmed is that it's sometime in 2026.
It's a show that was promised a long time ago, like when WandaVision came to a close and Vision transitioned into this comic accurate character where he's the pristine white version of the synthetic Vision, and then he's going off to explore what's going on with him. One thing that concerns me about Vision Quest, Sarah, and that's why I ranked it kind of low, is that it took a really long time for them to deliver on this promise. I wish that this one to come out a little bit sooner to maybe put a button on that story. I don't really know what the delay was for it. And there's one piece of evidence or information that we have heard about it, which is that a lot of the voice actors, James Spader and such, are going to be playing human versions of themselves and not really like synthesized characters or AI versions of the characters. And that worries me because I don't know if this show is going to get too inside its own head. So stars Paul Bettany, and it will introduce another of the children of Wanda and Vision, which will then, I think, bring us closer to the Young Avengers lineup that we're going to get. So We'll see. All right, Jimmy Olsen, 15, Vision Quest, 14. Where are we going for 13, Sierra?
We are going to Marvel Zombies season 2, and I think that this is a show that I think is very beloved. So first things first, we have no confirmation of when that will be. The first season dropped quite recently. We don't know what it will be about, other than a continuation of the cliffhanger. And so for this video, I'm going to avoid spoilers for that. And so we're having shifts in casts, in surviving characters, but we really have no information. And so for me, I think it being low here is because I'm not sure how invested I am in the concept in general. That's more about like your mileage is going to vary thing for me.
Yeah, and you're the horror person of the two of us as well too. So I thought you'd be all over continued stories in the zombie universe.
When I saw the zombie episode in Marvel What If, felt like that gave me what I wanted from it, and I wasn't necessarily like as fascinated and interested to see where else we were going to go with it.
Right.
I'm not, which isn't to say that like it's not. That's a completely subjective statement.
What I will say about the first season of Marvel Zombies is that it really won me over. The first 2 episodes I thought were interesting, but I wasn't sure where they were going to go with it. Last 2 episodes ended up being totally captivating, and we got to, and again, I'll dance around spoilers for people who haven't had a chance to watch it, but we met some incredibly powerful characters that I would be intrigued to see where they go in a season 2. We're kind of putting this on the list because they all but have confirmed that work on season 2 has begun. I know animation takes a really long time. And I'll address the fact that Marvel Animation gets a little bit of a knock that they have like a house style, and that all their animation projects resemble each other. And for a Marvel Zombie season 2, I would like to see them maybe take a different swing in terms of a different form of animation or a new style to the animation, so that it doesn't look like the What If versions or the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Mans or the X-Men 97s or things like that. Because I do think they all sort of have, they share a lot of DNA, and you can bring different animators to the table who would bring unique visions to it. But from a storytelling standpoint, I really liked what they did with Marvel Zombies season 1. And yeah, I really do want to see where it goes with season 2. We're going to stick in animation so let's see, 15, 14, 13. This is number 12. And we're going to jump over to DC because we're going to do Creature Commandos season 2. No release date in terms of Creature Commando season 2, but James Gunn has confirmed that the writing is being done on the episodes, that they have a story in place and they are developing it. So it's going to be coming down the line. I loved Creature Commandos. I was blown away by how much I fell in love with the characters, G.I. Robot and Weasel, and David Harbour's version of Frankenstein, which was to me just the funniest thing on the planet. So
he's really a Marvel pinch hitter these days, huh?
He really is, yeah. So I assume that they're going to be using Rick Flag Sr., who seems like he's going to be a significant part of the world. The show will probably involve Amanda Waller. We saw a new interpretation of a Creature Commandos lineup introduced at the end of season 1, so we'll go in that direction with that team. They're going to need a big bad. I don't know who it's going to be yet at this point. They kind of invented one in terms of the princess of a foreign nation that the Creature Commandos had to go in and infiltrate. So I expect James Gunn will do something completely different with that as well too. And maybe this is a chance to introduce some of the bigger heroes. Maybe we get to meet Flash or Cyborg or God forbid, even a Wonder Woman or someone like that who gets introduced through a Creature Commando season 2. But until we know more details, I kept this one a little bit lower. It sounds like you did as well.
We're approaching the point of the list where things aren't in this spot on the list because I'm not excited for them. It's because there are other things I'm more excited about. And I think that's like, and I think that's, I mean, what a nice place to be. 15 upcoming projects that are confirmed on the list. I think that's a good spot to be in. I think that's something to celebrate. And has not always been the case for some years in superhero stories.
Very true. Very true. All right. So let's switch over to number 11. We are fast approaching the top 10 most anticipated projects. But before we get into those, we're going to stay in the land of animation, Sierra. And at number 11, based on our rankings, we have season 2 of X-Men 97. How do you feel about X-Men 97 and where we could potentially be going with these characters?
I feel like I should be more excited for X-Men than I am.
Okay. Oh, explain. I'd love to hear why.
I think there's like the next couple. I think I've brought down your average by being less excited by them.
Obviously, we have a lot of animated projects that are sort of clumped together now in this. And I think between the two of us, I favor live action. You know, I don't mind the animated excursions. They allow you to do some crazy things. X-Men 97 did end on some significant teases for places that they could go. We had different characters stranded in different places. Again, sort of dancing around spoilers. The potential introduction of some exciting characters. What I find interesting is that it sounds like Marvel is going to be keeping two of their animated shows, and I think we could sort of roll this into number 10 as well too, because number 10 for us is season 2 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And it sounds like Marvel Studios wants to continue to do seasons of those almost every year, as long as they can keep the production cycle going. But we also know that the X-Men are going to be the anchor point of the next live action saga in the MCU after we get rid of the multiverse bit. And if I were, forced to choose between the two, as exciting as it's been to sort of see the revitalization of the X-Men 97 animation, and have some of these characters be brought back to life and translated in different ways that are for a contemporary audience, I want to see what they're going to do in live action. Like, that's what I'm really looking forward to. In terms of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, though, this is a project, and I'm the Spider-Man junkie of the two of us, right? That I went into it with my arms a little bit folded, like, all right, well, show me what this is going to be, And I fell in love with the characters. I thought they were incredible. I loved the interpretation of Peter. I thought the new Norman Osborn was an incredible way to bring that in. And Harry's relationship was great. The birth of Tombstone as a villain was terrific. The different takes on Scorpion and the way that they looped in Doctor Strange towards the end of it, I won't tell you how, for spoiler reasons, have me really psyched about where we're going in terms of season 2. So that's why I put that where I ranked it. And that's kind of why it landed at number 10 for us.
I have always loved the animated versions of Spider-Man. I feel like that's where we have very intimate portrayals of this character, where they get to experiment with him, where we get to play with the different versions of the character. And I do feel like I love that every generation of kids has their own version that they're going to be really attached to. I feel like over the course of my child and tween years, I got to have several, which was always really nice.
Yeah.
And so it's I'm always just delighted to see it. So I actually think I ranked this one higher than you.
Well, I'm excited to see where it goes. And I know, so we got a tease for Gwen Stacy. We know that animated Gwen Stacy is coming in season 2 as Gwen Stacy and as Spider-Gwen. So that'll be interesting. And again, I can't say enough about Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn. I think he would have been a terrific choice for live action Norman Osborn. It's a shame that they're wasting him in animation. So,
oh my God, I don't think I knew it was Coleman Domingo.
Yeah,
I love him so much.
And look, maybe it can still happen. I'm still holding out hope. It'd be tremendous, but we'll see.
We don't have who it is yet. You never know.
All right. Well, we're into our top 10 and we're at number 9 and we're finally breaking free from animation. Sierra, where are we going at number 9?
We're going to Clayface, which I'm very excited about. So Clayface will be released on September 11th, 2026. Mm-hmm. And Mike Flanagan, who is one of my favorite filmmakers, wrote the script for it. Mm-hmm. He's a big horror guy. You might know him from Haunting Hill House. You might know him from Dr. Sleep, from Midnight Mass, from a whole slew of horror things. And so what we know about it so far is that it's going to follow a shape-shifting creature made of magical clay that haunts Gotham City, alternating between being a villain and an ally of Batman. And that's kind of it. We have a sense of the cast. We have a few people who are, but it's a lot of, not unknowns, but a lot of people who are coming from, supporting players from other places. And so that really plays into something that you really love, which is we're trying to find definitive actors to embody these characters. How are you feeling about Clayface?
I'd feel better if Mike Flanagan were actually directing it.
That's fair.
I'm thrilled that he wrote it. I thought I'd be over the moon ready for this one if James Gunn said to Flanagan, like, "Oh, terrific screenplay, go make it," kind of thing. Because in addition to all the things that you've mentioned, like, yes, he also did The Life of Chuck, which is one of the best movies that came out this year. If you haven't yet seen it, please go see it. But those things that you just rattled off in terms of his Netflix series, Midnight Mass is incredible. Haunting of Hill House is unbelievably great. Like, he is one of the most talented storytellers going right now. So I believe in his script, and he's using Batman the Animated Series as a source point for it, which I think is terrific. It's unusual to me because in this developing DCU, I know that James Gunn says he wants to have different voices and be able to showcase new genres. And so it's cool that it's doing horror. I'm a fan of building out the universe and continuing a larger story. This feels like it's going to be really just like an Elseworld type of story and live on its own. So we'll see. I think that's why it's a little bit lower for me than some of the other most anticipated ones, because I don't really know where it fits. And I wish Flanagan was directing it, but that's just me being selfish.
It's not selfish. It's giving. I think it's, wouldn't we all love that? But, he pitched it. Like, he came to them with the project,
right?
And so it's very much it's not a journeyman writer situation where he's doing it just because he was asked. And so I think that probably means that, like, this is a partnership, because I think there's some beautiful writer-director partnerships, and you never know what'll come out of that. And so gotta have faith in Watkins. Let's hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed for him.
All right. So for number 8, we have ranked Daredevil Born Again season 2. So let's talk about what we know about the second season of The Man Without Fear. It is going to continue the street level adventures of Daredevil, played by Charlie Cox. It is coming to the coming to Disney Plus and also the MCU on March 4th, 2026. So you don't have to wait too long to get there. It is building out, as mentioned, the sort of street level corner of the MCU. We're going to get more Kingpin. We're going to get more Bullseye. We learned recently on CBR that the Punisher is not going to be part of this next story, because he's going to be getting his own sort of spin-off series, which has been teased, but we don't really have much detail about it. I'm really intrigued by this if it helps set up a title that I know we're going to be talking about in a little bit, Spider-Man Brand New Day, which has been teased as a street level story, which will have the Punisher in it. So as Marvel continues to build out, there's the multiverse saga that they're going to have to resolve, which involves Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom and all these big time players. I also like that they're not ignoring and helping to develop the street level stories, which is what the comics do. The comics can also, like, you can follow multiple runs that go through like these gang war type stories that have Hammerhead and Tombstone and Kingpin and Punisher. And then you get Spider-Man and Daredevil fighting for the soul of New York City. And then you get these intergalactic stories that involve the Avengers and Iron Man and all these, bigger things that are going on. That's cool that the MCU is at that point. So I really liked Daredevil Born Again season 1. I had a couple of issues with it. It stalled a bit in the middle, some filler. Hopefully they learned the lesson from that one. It looks like they're going for some big swings in season 2. If it reaches the quality level of the first season, I'll be as excited. How about you? How are you feeling about it?
I'm excited to see our street level, like your Daredevils, your maybe Jessica Joneses, maybe Power Man coming back into the folds. That's always exciting.
Forgot about Kristen Ritter. That's great.
I don't know where that's gonna end up. I don't know. She doesn't have anything confirmed solo projects, but she's come to Comic-Con. She has some scheduled appearances in some other projects. So we'll see.
As we get to number 7, this may surprise some people of what landed at 7. Sierra, what do we have? What do we have chalking in at number 7 on the power rankings?
So next up for number 7, we have Lanterns. And so as we learned last week, that has been delayed again to unconfirmed dates. It'll for sure be it will for sure release after Supergirl. They're still saying 2026. And so it was Jon Stewart as a new recruit being led by Hal Jordan. So two intergalactic cops kind of like drawn into this Earth-based mystery. And so it's very interesting because you have this, exactly what you were saying before, where you have this very like intergalactic, the core.
And the premise, the one-line premise is it's True Detective, but with two lanterns, which, great. That's very intriguing to me. Yeah, that's a perfect elevator pitch. I ranked it lower because of the delay. You and I have had this argument already. I think the delay signifies an issue, like an issue that has to be fixed. And we are recording this just to let everybody know this is the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. And the reason why I bring that up is because, oh, no, wait, I'm sorry, it's Wednesday. It's the Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. And the reason I bring that up is because there have been rumors of a Lanterns trailer that is floating around out there that has been shown in Brazil as we get closer to CCXP. So there's a chance that by the time you guys watch this, the Lanterns trailer has made its way online, in which case we might have to reevaluate our entire power rankings and potentially move Lanterns up or down, depending on what they said. Now again, these are all scoopers and people are just sort of talking about like, oh, this is what the footage reportedly shows. One scooper said you don't see any Green Lantern suits, right? Like it's just them in their street clothes, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan in their street clothes. That concerns me. That means we're saving on budget. That means it's the CW. I'm a little bit worried. So let's see. I'll reserve judgment. I'll reserve proper judgment.
The slander of the CW.
It just, I want an HBO Max. I don't want the CW. So we'll see what Lanterns ends up giving us. Okay, 6 we are going for. And so this is our first tie. But at 6 we have Supergirl, which is the continuing story of Kara, Superman's
cousin.
Cousin? Yeah, I was going to say niece. I almost said niece for a second there. Sorry. Who we met ever so briefly at the end of Superman. Crypto's owner, going off on a bender, trying to get into the Red Sun so that she can get drunk and celebrate her upcoming birthday. Thrilled about this for various reasons. I think Millie Alcock looks perfect in the part. I think that can I say this? I was able to go to the set. I think I could say I got to go to the set. I can't tell you any details of things that we learned on the set. Not yet, but once I can, it'll be right here on Hero's Journey where we'll talk about it. Tom King's book is terrific. Here's my only concern. This is why Supergirl is a little bit lower for me than some of the other things that we're going to discuss. Tom King's book, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is very episodic. Every new issue is just like, and then they were on the next adventure. And there is an overarching story of vengeance where this young girl who Supergirl befriends is trying to go after the guy who murdered her father. And they are retaining that storyline, but they've made some changes so that it's not so episodic and it can work as a feature film. One of the things that they're doing is adding a character like Lobo, played by Jason Momoa, who is not in the book, right? So are these changes going to be okay? How many of these changes are they going to do? These are things that I'm a little bit concerned about. And Craig Gillespie, to me, as the director, Craig Gillespie did I, Tonya, is not my first choice to do like a visual effects intergalactic superhero movie. So, I hope that James Gunn saw something in him that made him think this is the guy to do it. But I don't know. I'm reserving a little bit of judgment because I'm not quite sure if Craig Gillespie was the right choice, but we shall see.
Well, I mean, I'm going to push back on that and actually I think that's doing I, Tonya as a selling point.
Okay.
I mean, Kara is a messy bitch, and that's what I love, and that's where you come from with Tonya Harding and that character. And so there was also a lot of was a very physical film, and in many ways I mean figure skating is an art form, but it is also an extreme sport. Yeah. And I think that lends itself very well to action. I think that you would be surprised about the effects that they had to achieve both practically and as well as VFX wise with that film, just because it's the feats that you have to do. It's just that they're done so subtly and in such a grounded kind of story. And so I think that he might actually be a really excellent choice for this, because they're both very complicated women dealing with very intense emotions and trauma. And
Okay.
so I don't know, maybe.
No, that's excellent points. Those are excellent points.
I mean, can you not see a world where Margot Robbie, if we had done this movie like 5-10 years ago, it would have been Margot Robbie?
Yeah, no, that's very fair. I could definitely see that. And then the Craig Gillespie choice would have made a lot more sense. So, all right, Supergirl. Supergirl lands at number 6, which brings us to number 5. Sierra, I'm stealing number 5 because this is my boy. Landing at number 5 is Spider-Man Brand New Day. Tom Holland's 4th go in a solo Spider-Man movie in the MCU. This film will be coming out on July 31st, 2026, continuing the street level story, theoretically, from what we're told, although there's a lot of rumors of places that it could go. Here's one of my concerns about Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's a little overcrowded. There's a lot of stuff going on based on stuff that we've heard so far. We know the Punisher is in it. We know that Michael Mando is returning as the Scorpion, fully stepping into the character. And then we've heard a lot of rumors of villains like Tarantula and Tombstone. Tombstone is confirmed. We have an actor for Tombstone. We still don't know who Sadie Sink is playing. There's rumors about Jacob Batalon and Zendaya still reprising their roles. So there's a lot going on. I just want to see how they juggle this. But I'm really excited by the director choice of Destin Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi. And apparently he's bringing a ton of flair to the fight sequences and the action set pieces. And, you know, anyone who's watching this and has made it this far into this video has probably been paying attention to all the videos that have made it online of Spider-Man filming out in the public with a giant tank and the new suit, which looks tremendous. So Spider-Man Brand New Day has a lot going for it. If my only nitpick is that maybe there's too much going on in it for right now, but we don't know 100% what the plot entails.
I hope against hope for you, if not for anyone else, that
right.
this movie is amazing.
Yeah, I know. What do you think of his new suit? Do you like his new suit's design?
This is like level 1 cosplay. It's like before you learn to put puff paints on all of the lines of the suit so that it makes it look 3D. This is so niche. This is like a comment for like 4 people who are watching, and if it's you, please comment in below. But here's what I think might be happening here. They might enhance this in post.
Okay.
Sometimes what they'll do is like something that doesn't look as good when you're just like on set will look really incredible once the color grade goes through, once you have like the VFX in place. My only fear with that is that a lot of time color grade is something that like I feel like this is so niche, but within film, you know, guys, when like when you're watching, like, for example, Game of Thrones, and it's a night scene and you can't see what the hell is going on.
Right,
that's a color grade problem. That's a lighting problem first, but it's definitely a color grade problem second, and it's usually with them not working well enough together. There's also stylistic issues with this, where like this has been a trend for a long time. For a lot of Marvel movies, you might have seen this complaint that they all kind of look flat.
Yeah.
And it's because they kind of look like most of them really don't look like they're color graded, because they're not they don't have that same stylistic thing, and it's very hard to do when you're doing all this VFX and when you're shooting on these blue screens as they do. And so because Spider-Man films in the past have not been the most like stylistically lit and colored, I don't know if that's going to be the thing that saves it. I'm just sort of giving them the excuse of maybe.
Okay. I love it. That's great insight. Really great insight. But anyway, for right now, Spider-Man Brand New Day lands at number 5 as we continue to work through our top 5 of the power rankings. These are the heavy hitters, Sierra. These are the ones that are going to claim all of our attention. Why don't you tell the people what landed at number 4?
At number 4, we have, again, reminder that number 4 and number 3 are tied with each other. And so this is really like one of those joint situations. We have The Batman Part 2.
Whew. Listen, it's Matt Reeves. right? COVID delayed it a little bit. It is now currently going to be released October 1st of 2027. So it's still a long way off. Like, this has the potential to me to be the Empire Strikes Back of comic book movies. Like,
Oh, interesting.
he has established his world. I really like Robert Pattinson's Batman. I like where he's at on his timeline. You know, he has some experience, but he's not grizzled veteran Batman. He's still kind of figuring it out. A big thing of how this swings is who the villain is going to be. I cannot wait for the reveal of who the villain's going to be. There's been some rumors, Mr. Freeze. There's been a blue color palette that's been used, you know, for this Batman, whereas the previous one was heavy red. But what I liked about what Matt Reeves did with his writing is that while the main villain was the Riddler, theoretically, you know, there were heavy duty parts for Catwoman, for Penguin. Like, that whole world was fleshed out, and that goes back to writing, and that goes back to Matt Reeves just being a really smart storyteller. I mean, to me, Matt Reeves doesn't miss. So I'm incredibly excited to see what he did with this. This is the one instance here where a delay, because this has been delayed for a while now, I'm chalking that up to he wanted to get it right. Like, it's the quality, you know, and he wouldn't even start it until he had the script locked into place. And that to me is a guy who's operating from a really smart point. So that's why this one's pretty high for me.
I think that the best possible place for a delay to be in my experience with a film is at the script stage. If there are delays at the script stage, that I mean, that's your founding document. You cannot once if your script isn't good, then your movie is just not going to be good. Like, it's just not, you need that.
It's going to be a natural continuation of where everything kind of left. So there's a power void that's been left by Carmine Falcone being assassinated. Some of that was addressed in the Penguin miniseries that people should absolutely watch if they want a continuation in that world. There was the indication that Barry Keoghan, his Joker, exists in this world already, that he and Batman have a bit of a history from a deleted scene that shows the Joker in Arkham. But there's been talk, and I don't know how accurate it is, that Joker might still be a Hannibal Lecter type behind the scenes pulling the strings from his cell villain, you know, and not necessarily the main focus just yet. There's 1,000 different places that they can go. I think Matt Reeves has confirmed to say that they are either doing a villain that's never been done in live action before, or they're going to take a villain that has been done before and do them in a completely different way. My hope is that, and you can go back and listen to our Scott Snyder episode, he created the Court of Owls, and the Court of Owls would be a brilliant way to explain some of the corruption in Gotham and how, you know, things that we learned in the first Batman, where the Waynes were very involved in Arkham, and some of this corruption that is spread through, which is what was the motivation for the Riddler to do all the things that he did in the first film. If you could bring the Court of Owls into part 2 and have Bruce realize that he's in so far over his head because the corruption in Gotham is really in the fiber of the city, I think that could be pretty intimidating. But we shall see. October 2027 seems so far off now at this point, unfortunately. But I ranked this so high because I love the universe that Matt Reeves has made, and I love Matt Reeves. So that's why I put it as high as I did.
I think that's completely fair. I think that in many ways, COVID got in the way of of Batman Part 1 being the phenomenon that I think I expected. And so I'm glad that he is having this opportunity to continue the world. For upcoming for 3 and 2, despite the fact that 2 and 1 are tied, I do feel like they need that, like they're so tightly together for a reason that I want to talk about them together.
All right, that sounds fair. Go ahead. Why don't you reveal them?
So our anticipated projects 3 and 2 are Avengers Secret Wars and Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
Part 1 and a Part 2 situation.
Right now, these two films are going to be separated by about a year. We have December 18th, 2026 for Avengers Doomsday. And then a following year, providing that this date holds, we will get Avengers Secret Wars on December 17th of 2027. Now, will they hold is the big question. Because that pits them up against, I want to say that Doomsday is set to go against, is it an Avatar film? Or maybe it's Secret Wars is going up against an Avatar film. It feels like one of them is going to blink and move. And probably Secret Wars, because the Marvel films tended to grab those first weekend in May slots, and the December slots are very strange. I'm not saying the Doomsday can't work there. Spider-Man No Way Home opened in December and still made $1 billion. But it just feels to me like the Avengers films are summer movies.
And it seems unlikely that we're going to have like a Barbenheimer situation with Dune and Doomsday. We're not going to have like a Doomsday. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's not, because you have too much overlap with the audiences, I think.
Sure. So let's
and
talk about...
it's not going to be a rising tide lifting all boats as it was with Barbenheimer.
Let's talk about Doomsday just as a movie. Like the big
Doomsday.
question that needs to be answered is, was Robert Downey Jr. the right idea? Right? Like, bringing him back is either going to be a stroke of genius because they figured out some way to explain it, or it's going to be egg on their face of just like, you had so many other options of actors that you could have chosen to play Dr. Doom. This is your shot at MCU Doom, and you brought back Robert Downey Jr. The cynical response is, you guys got desperate. You know, you had a couple of struggles and you went right back to the well of your most popular actor, save for maybe Chris Evans. And, you know, there's rumors that Evans is coming back, you know, and going to play some version of Captain America in this movie as well, too. Doomsday has to work for people to care about Secret Wars. If Doomsday is bad, Secret Wars starts in a hole that it might not be able to dig itself out of. So there's so much riding on Doomsday, almost an unfair amount of pressure riding on Doomsday, I would say.
I'm not convinced they even know what Secret Wars is going to be yet.
Right.
Because we have nothing. We know nothing. It's so far off at this point. But those dates only being a year apart, part of me thinks that they must be shooting them partially together. So maybe that's not true. Maybe that's really unfair of me to say, actually.
No, they must have an idea, at least at the creative level. But we also have to remember that they are, backpedaling is too strong of a word, but they're pivoting hard from where this was supposed to be Jonathan Majors as Kang, right? And for all the reasons, they couldn't continue with Jonathan Majors and had to come up with a replacement. And the replacement was, all right, we'll jump to Dr. Doom. Like, Doom was supposed to come later. They were supposed to do Kang and then have Doom as a villain down the line, but they moved it up.
I think that that was a blessing in many ways, because it's, I just think that Doom is a more compelling villain to bring people back into the fold than Kang.
Sure.
I think Kang's introduction being in Quantumania was certainly a choice.
Yeah.
If that was their plan. I also think there's because here's where I'm going to justify why this is so high. These were both so high up on my list, despite feeling quite cynical. And I think maybe, and I'm curious if you share this sentiment. I think that what this has been pitched as is a hard reset of the Marvel universe, and I think it needs it. I think it needs that. I think it needs to complete. I think it needs a hard pivot. I think it needs to the argument that I've always had, because this is in my nerdy sort of way. I had always felt like we needed what we had, and this was something that I had wanted from the era of Infinity War, where we needed the passing of the torch to be a more definitive and powerful aspect that was built in and baked into that era. And I don't think it was. You needed, if we were going to have our heavy hitters, our very like popular characters leave, they needed to leave something. They needed to leave it to someone. And so this is, I think, the way to justify bringing back Robert Downey Jr. is that is to functionally do that. And so I'm absolutely. So I think that's like a mix of the cynical, but also if we're going to do this in this cynical way where we're going back to that, well, let's use this once and use it well. Let's play that trump card. And my hope, this is where I put my tinfoil hat, is that the reason to use him as Doctor Doom is because if we're doing this multiverse thing, it's that he literally is Tony Stark, but Tony Stark is Doctor Doom.
Right. Yeah.
And so he's Tony Stark from that universe. And so that you have that emotional weight where these characters who were familiar with the Tony Stark of their universe have the emotional weight of having to fight someone who is not quite the person that they lost. And I think that can have really powerful resonance if done correctly.
Well, and the bit that I love, you're right with all of that. And the bit that I love is, if this is how they've figured it out, that when Captain America had to go back through the timelines and return the stones, if he screwed something up and that's what triggered Doctor Doom, then it makes sense that they can use that wrinkle from Endgame and bring closure to the whole thing. In which case, I think Doomsday becomes your setup. Secret Wars becomes the reboot. Secret War, would they blow everything out in Secret Wars? Anyone who's ever been in a Marvel movie ever, Tobey Maguire, Channing Tatum, all of them, they're all in there. The kitchen sink, and then after Secret Wars, goodbye to all of you guys. And we're starting over, as the comics have done multiple times, and now we're in a brand new universe and let's continue on. We'll meet new X-Men. Maybe you continue on the Fantastic Four. But it's time I'm with you. It's time for a reset and give the audiences something new to invest in. But listen, we won't know about Doomsday for a while, and we won't know about Secret Wars until well after Doomsday. So that brings us to our number one most anticipated superhero project of 2026 and 27. It is the Superman sequel that James Gunn is working on currently, called Man of Tomorrow. At the moment, Man of Tomorrow is going to be dropping in theaters on July 9th, 2027. Sierra, why is this one so anticipated for you?
I mean, it's hard to argue with Superman. It's hard to argue with the success of that film, of this launching of the DCU, the thing that has brought us all back, given us hope, as the Shield often does. And I think that for me, it's that aspect of, I think it's completely earned. I think that the things that I felt, you know what I mean? It's like, we're so back, baby. Like that's what I felt watching it. And I think that's what I want to return to. That's what I hope for. I think I'm like having a little bit of that nostalgia flashbacks to like when we had that first, like right after that first Avengers movie, where I just had that like, oh, I'm about to watch something incredible. I'm about to see something that, like, the birth of something big. And then I was right, not to brag. But no, I mean, like, I felt that in 2008 when I watched Iron Man for the very first time. It was, anyway, so I think that there's that element. And also the part of me that is just a lover of like the classic comic book team up of a hero and a villain, that like because the concept of it is that Superman and Lex Luthor have to come together against a greater evil. It's very much like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that's always killer, and that's always really well earned. And so I'm looking forward to that. How about you?
Well, as far as we know, that evil is going to be Brainiac too. I don't know if that was ever officially confirmed by James Gunn, but I think we've gotten enough stuff to at least say that it's been Brainiac. Yeah, I'm with you. The Superman and Lex Luthor having to team up seems terrific. And I will say that of all the 2025 superhero properties that have come out, because they're all available on streaming now at this point, and at the end of the day, when Michelle's gone to bed and I've got the TV to myself, I'll generally flip around and put on some type of superhero property. And I've gone back to that Superman movie multiple times just because I enjoy being in that world. Like, it's just a fun universe to be in. I'll go back and rewatch the Kaiju fight, or I'll watch Mr. Terrific take on all those soldiers, while putting Lois in a protective shield. I'll watch the final confrontation in Metropolis and watch Nicholas Hoult chew scenery, and to imagine a Midnight Run type, comedy where it's Cornsweat's pure as gold Superman and Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor going against each other as they take on Brainiac is amazing. I trust in James Gunn at this point now. I really liked Peacemaker season 2. I really liked Superman. I trust his writing. I trust his vision for the universe. And there's something to be said that when James had the ability to choose his next project, like what was he going to do after Superman, that this idea was the one that compelled him, like, I'm going to dive right into this. I'm going to do Man of Tomorrow next. Because he had teased a couple other things on the slate as part of the whole Gods and Monsters saga. And knowing that James is even like a huge Batman junkie, the fact that he didn't grab Batman the Brave and the Bold, which is what I honestly thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to make a Batman movie also. And instead decided to do this means that there's probably something really special going on in here. So, yeah, cannot wait for this. Like, I think it's going to be terrific. I think it's a great next step for DC. So we're going from Superman, we'll get Clayface, we'll get Supergirl, and we'll get Man of Tomorrow. And then by the time Man of Tomorrow comes around, hopefully we'll have a couple other answers in terms of what's coming on the feature film side for DC, because we don't have a Batman, we don't have a Wonder Woman, we don't have a Flash, we don't have some other major things. Hopefully some of those characters get rounded out. But for the moment, in terms of the Hero's Journey Power Rankings, your number one most anticipated film is James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow. So that's where we stand. Sierra, how you feel? How you feel about the Power Rankings?
Hey, the very nature of power rankings is that they fluctuate, they change with time, and so we'd like to hear from you guys what is the current state of your power rankings. You don't have to list all 15 as we have, but I think that it's hard to imagine that any of these would be controversial, because it's really just a lot of really exciting things happening, and it's just a matter of like, what are we most excited for at any given moment. And so
exactly,
I'm excited to see what this year brings.
For all of the updated information on all of these projects as they come down the pipeline, make sure that you have it here on Hero's Journey. We are here every single week talking through the biggest topics in terms of comic book news, superhero news, reacting to all the big things that are happening with CCXP around the corner. With the advent of 2026, we're going to have so much to dive into. So hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. You'll be alerted as soon as a new episode drops, and we'll see you guys back here next week.